What is going on? Grind. It's Chief. It's TJ. It's Showdown, people. And boy, do we have an interesting game tonight, TJ. A little bit of Atlanta Falcons, a little bit of Washington Commanders. And Washington wins. They're going to keep themselves rolling. And Atlanta wins, and well, they just win the game. But let's see how we want to build these lineups. How's your day going in the DFS streets? Let me just say Ryan Hollins really burned me today. I took his under receiving yards, basically got it all in one play in the first quarter, and then that was it. And sure enough,
Mac Hollins. Ryan is the guy on the Milwaukee Bucks.
Yeah, Mac Hollins. Sorry. Just frustrated me. That held me back from a really nice payday today. So hopefully, TJ, we do pretty well tonight. So good to see you, man, and glad we're doing this show together.
Couldn't agree more. It was it looks like I'm going to be breaking even, making a little bit of money today, but it was close to a bigger one. Crazy stuff with TJ Spears on his way to a monster game, gets the 100-yard bonus, and then gets stuffed in the backfield, gets concussed in the mid-third quarter, and is out for the game, just short of that 100-yard bonus. Hopefully he is okay, but thankfully, day's going still pretty well. I got a team with about 215, 220 right now, and that's with TJ Spears. So close to a mega day, but any day we're not losing money, we will take it, especially when we still are going into a showdown slate.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And definitely want to get this one. This is an interesting slate. TJ, we're going to do like always, man. We're going to head over to the captain position on DraftKings, and I think we've got a couple different captains that we could utilize tonight. I do think a lot of people will like Jaden Daniels. I think I will like Jaden Daniels. Obviously, you should like Jaden Daniels. But I do think there's some other guys that you could consider. What are you doing at the captain position in terms of your primary guy, and who are some spices that we want to filter into the mix?
Yeah, so I like when my primary is somewhat spicy, but unfortunately, that's just not the case tonight. The main guy is Jaden Daniels. I like him the best. I think the field's going to like him the best. And so it does make it a little less exciting, but I think he is the very clear top option at the captain position today.
Yeah, for sure. So obviously Jaden Daniels, because of just his overall upside, I just think you can definitely consider him. Here's what I will say. Look, I'm not saying Michael Penix Jr. is the answer here, but he's so much cheaper, 13.2. You can fit in a lot of other guys. Bijan's not Bijan. Brian Robinson is 13.5. Drake London 14.1. Like pretty much everybody under McDaniels is $1,000 cheaper or less in the captain position, TJ, which typically helps us out. Anybody else, you want to kind of put in there that could make some noise here.
If I'm going off of him, I don't mind Bijan. I don't mind Drake London. I think you can even take shots on the other wide receivers here for the Falcons, like Darnell Mooney, like what's his name, Ray McLeod. And the reason for that is because I do think that, like, I love betting. Like, I didn't actually do it just because I was kind of lazy, if I'm being honest, but I really like the idea of betting on Washington tonight, because I think this spread is way too small. I think Washington's gonna pummel them in this spot, and the fact that it's only 3.5 points, I think it should be 6.5, 7.5. So I love the idea of betting on Washington in this spot, and I think it makes London, Ray, Mooney, maybe even Penix viable at the captain position.
Okay. Yeah, I do like Penix a bit here. It's mainly because of the price, though, TJ. I know he's a rookie, so I'm not trying to overlook that, but I definitely think this is a guy that could do a little something tonight if they've got to, try to put up some numbers to keep up with Washington. All right, we're going over to the flex, TJ. We'll kind of take this. So clearly, I think we want to play Penix. I think we want to play Daniels, obviously. So I think those are the obvious plays. We're going to play both quarterbacks. Let's go over to running back. Bijan.
For what it's, I don't know. I don't know necessarily. I will. I don't know that I need to play Penix.
Oh, okay. Interesting. I just think the price is a little bit. It's very cheap for a quarterback in a game where we're expecting them to be behind.
That's very true. That's very true. I'm just looking at it in the range, and while he's cheaper, I would rather get up to Drake London or Terry McLaurin. But he is so cheap. You're absolutely right. He's still very much of a good play. I just don't know that he's as necessary to me as a few other guys. Like, I'm going to do whatever I can to just jam in Jaden Daniels, Bijan Robinson, and Terry McLaurin, and then see what I have left.
Okay. All right. Well, let's go to running back. You've got Bijan. You've got Brian Robertson Jr. Those are your main guys. We do know that Tyler Algier will get some work. Now, whether or not he gets to the end zone, whether or not this is the game where he gets 10 carries versus 6 carries, TJ, I don't know. But he will get some work. How are you feeling about Algier at 4K? And then obviously the more expensive running backs who are going to get the main piece of the work?
So Bijan is a must play for me today. He'll be involved in the passing game. He'll be involved in the run game. He's kind of game script proof, which I like. The one thing, I mean, the last time I said that was TJ Spears, and he ended up getting concussed. So maybe nobody's quite game.
And he still didn't quite burn you. He still
didn't burn you at all. He was still fine. That's the tough part is like he was on his way to 2025. Right. But then he still didn't burn you with what he got for sure. I think my spicy route today thing I'm going to do is I'm going to play a ton of Bijan. I think I'm going to try and fade Brian Robinson and play the backup running backs, Jeremy McNichols and primarily Chris Rodriguez.
So you're going to full fade? You're not just going to play him lightly? Like just
so I'm only playing 3 lineups. I may play him in 1, but I'm leaning towards 0.
Leaning towards 0, but you might go a little light on him. How about RG Combo Lite? The holiday season brings us some DFS contests for the NBA and the NFL, and we want you to have a massive holiday takedown. We're still in the season of giving. So we're taking off $10 your first month of Combo Lite. That means access to our SimLabs lineup building tool and content from some of your favorite DFS analysts for just $19.99. It's an affordable subscription that has everything you need to build effective lineups, score a big win this holiday season. And if you haven't signed up for Splash Sports, now is the time. Use the promo code ROTO10. And when you play $100 in quick picks, you'll get another $50. All right, TJ, back to the task at hand, and that is showdown. Anybody else at the running back position that you want to play?
No, just really do want to highlight Chris Rodriguez as the main guy I'm going to be going with here. The reason I like that Brian Robinson fade, and Chris Rodriguez and Jeremy McNichols, I just kind of think McNichols is probably the guy with the higher floor. Rodriguez, higher ceiling, a little bit more electric, coming in at lower ownership. The reason I want to do that is Brian Robinson lost 2 fumbles last week. And that could be the type of thing where, especially the more of this game gets in hand, maybe they just decide, hey, we want to try out some of these other guys going into the playoffs because we need to be taking care of the ball. Coaches really, really hate fumbles from running backs. And so I like the idea of playing the backup running backs here, fading Brian Robinson, and hoping because of his fumble issues lately, they give some of the other guys the work.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. TJ, let's take it to wide receiver. You've mentioned a little bit of Drake London. Who else do you like at the wide receiver position? Scary
Terry, clear priority 1. He's going to be in hopefully all 3 lineups I play. I haven't actually built them yet, but the goal is to get Jaden Daniels, Bijan Robinson, and Terry McLaurin in all 3 of them. to me, they are far higher priorities than the other spend ups on the slate. They're the most expensive. Penix and Brian Robinson and Drake London, they're all cheaper and easier to get to. But I'm going to do my very best to get Daniels, Bijan, and Terry in the same lineup, because to me, those are the three most likely to score 20 plus.
Okay. All right. Sounds
And
good.
the only ones with like the 30 plus ceilings.
Yeah, I definitely think Scary Terry, while earlier in the year, TJ, it was looking like he was kind of being Scary Terry from the days of old. It does feel like he's picked it up here the later we've gotten to the season. Like, if you look at his last 5 games, DK points 19-2, then he had 24, 27, 26. It looks like they've tried to say, look, this is our number one guy. Let's get him the ball. Let's quit playing around here and, throwing this thing to guys like Olamide Zaccheaus. And my larger point, TJ, is they were just kind of not giving him the ball enough, and now I feel like they are. So do like him quite a bit. You mentioned Drake London. Hopefully his work continues to flourish. Oh, man, excuse me. Did not mean to yawn there. Hopefully his work continues to flourish with Michael Penix at the helm against Vegas. We didn't see a lot of targets, but that was kind of a weird game. I think they'll need to throw him the ball again tonight. We've got Mooney here. I'm just trying to see if Atlanta's going to open up the playbook, TJ. That's really what it is. And I think they'll have to if they want to win this game. I think all of the main receivers are in play at some point just because of the salary distribution. Like Mooney's 8,400, London's 9,400. You got Ray at 5,400. And then even for some of these other guys, like you've got Terry McLaurin at 10-2, but then, you go down to some of these other guys from Washington, like, oh my God, where's the
It's crazy to me that Olamide Zaccheaus is more expensive than Ray McLeod. That seems like, and like we're projecting Zaccheaus higher too, but I guess we're kind of expecting last game to be a constant and him really to step into the main Noah Brown role.
right.
But I kind of more still think of it as a bit of a rotation.
But you got Crowder at 3K. That's what I was thinking about. Crowder.
Yeah.
Not that he's going to pick up 30,000 targets, but at 3K, he's going to be on the field. If he has a couple pass catches and a touchdown, TJ, then that's
Crowder. That's the type of guy that I'll be playing to make sure I can get my big three of McDaniels, Mooney, and McLaurin. Sorry, Daniels, McLaurin, and Bijan.
Yep. All right. I think we're good at wide receiver. Let's take it to tight end, TJ. It feels like Zach Ertz is the safest out of any of these guys, and he probably is, considering, man, what does Kyle Pitts have to do? He's had a few splash games this season, TJ, but overall, once again, just very unproductive as an NFL tight end. How do you feel about the tight end position? I think if you got one guy at Zach Ertz, and we move on from there.
Couldn't agree more. One guy, Zach Ertz, move on from there. It's if you're playing a lot of lineups, look, it's showdown. You can always play backups. You can always play Kyle Pitts, but Ertz is going to be the only one I'm considering in my 3-entry max.
Here we go. Sneakily, my favorite, TJ, favorite position in showdown, sneakily, and that's the kicker position. I think everybody knows this. Boy, do I wish we had Younghoe Koo on this slate, but we just don't have but we do have a few kickers, TJ. Oh, there goes that yard again. I'm so sorry, everybody. I'm so sorry. We've got Zane Gonzalez. We've got Patterson. I like both of these guys just because, we've just seen kickers, man, so valuable in showdown when they have those big games. I definitely think I always like teams that score a lot of points, so that I think are going to score a lot of points. TJ, I like taking their kickers because the more points they score, the more likely they are to kick field goals when they're in the range and not just try to take a shot just because. So a team goes up 14-0 and they're in striking distance. Instead of them trying to throw the ball downfield to pick up that first down, they'll hand it off to the running back and let him pick up those 2 or 3 yards up the middle to give their kicker a better shot at a straight-on field goal. So I love high offense that I think are going to score. which leads me to say I do really like Zane Gonzalez tonight. How are you feeling about the kicker position?
Yeah, I feel the same way. I'm fiddling around with some stuff right now. In my early builds, I got 2 of the 3 of them ready, and one of them does have Zane Gonzalez in it. So I like that call quite a bit. I'm probably less likely to go with Patterson just because, like, Koo's been struggling and they still haven't gone to Patterson. And so I probably am like, I'll play him just because I'll play any kickers. But I'm probably more likely to go with Gonzalez than Patterson.
Okay. Yep. And that's kind of how I am. I'll play them both. Definitely more likely to go with Gonzalez than Patterson. I think we're on the same page there. Last but not least, we're moving to the defensive position. I usually don't play defenses, TJ. They're actually pretty cheap tonight. This is about the cheapest we've seen in a while in terms of defenses. 4,200 for the Commanders, 3,600 for the Falcons. I still don't want to play either for what it's worth, but I understand, like, at these prices you could. Well, handle defense is done, then don't worry, my friends. We will move over and talk some FanDuel. So nobody's put it out there yet about, hey, what's up with the FanDuel talk? But don't worry, we will move over to FanDuel once we talk about defenses. TJ, defenses, DraftKings, pretty cheap tonight. What are we doing?
Yeah, Washington defense is definitely the one I'm more interested in than Falcons. I mean, anything can happen with the defenses. You can return a kick for a touchdown and be optimal, but it's just that is the only way the Falcons defense gets there. Like, they're not going to turn. Washington doesn't turn the ball over very often. I think the offense is going to be cooking on the Falcons. So I'm way more likely to play the Commanders defense at 4,200 than the Falcons. Don't think I get to either, but I'm totally fine with it.
Okay. All right, here we go. We're moving over to FanDuel. TJ, and FanDuel gets very interesting because somewhere in this algorithm, Bijan is actually the most expensive player on FanDuel. Jaden Daniels right under him at 15.5. Boy, does it feel like the ownership's going to filter to Daniels a ton on FanDuel, with him being the second highest priced player on the slate. What are our thoughts for the MVP position?
Yeah, Daniels is still going to be my guy here. He is just by far the highest upside play on the slate to me. He can throw, he can run, he can score any which way. They get down to the red zone, he is equally likely to run it in as the running backs are. And so definitely getting to Jaden Daniels is my preferred option. Now, if you play anyone other than Daniels or Bijan, you're getting different on this slate. So if I'm playing large field stuff, multiple lineups, Penix, Brian Robinson, Terry McLaurin would definitely be my favorite pivot of the group. But even Drake London, totally viable. This could be a low-scoring game where the kickers end up being the highest scorers. So there are definitely ways to get different, but if I'm single entry or a cash game trying to get anything close to optimal, it's definitely Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, Daniels definitely feels like the guy on FanDuel. So where I feel like I'm a little more eager to take some different stands on DraftKings, TJ, because of the salary differential at captain on FanDuel, where I just think there's no reason to not consider Daniels 100% in the MVP. That's very aggressive. But if he is, in fact, the highest scorer, TJ, you've given yourself a huge leg up, because now you've just got to figure out the other 4 spots on FanDuel. So definitely think that's something that's interesting. Let's go to some of these flex positions, because once again, Michael Penix coming in very cheap here. Only threw it 27 times against the Giants, but I think you'll have to throw it a bit more here. You've got Terry McLaurin at 14K. I think he's probably the best pair, if you will, with Daniels. And then you've got Drake London at 13K. Had 8 targets in that game against the Giants, 5 catches for 59 yards. I think that was very respectable for his first outing, paired up with Michael Penix in a full game. So he's obviously somebody that you can play. It feels like Zach Ertz is the cheap guy that I want to get to. I know you'll play Rodriguez and Nichols, but in terms of just overall cheap plays, Zach Ertz at 8K feels like the right option, especially since I'm kind of pairing him with Daniels and Terry McLaurin. What are your thoughts at the flex position in terms of some of your favorite guys? Right now, it's Ertz, McLaurin, and Drake London for me. Not that I don't like Bijan, but I'm saying for the price, really like these other guys.
Yeah, and I kind of overlooked, not overlooked, but I didn't mention him maybe enough on when we were talking about DraftKings either. But I really like Zach Ertz in this spot. I think he's a great value play on both FanDuel and DraftKings. I was quite surprised to see him at sub 5K over on DraftKings. And then on FanDuel, that 8K price tag, that's still too cheap as well. He's definitely my favorite salary saver. Now on FanDuel, you have Olamide Zaccheaus at only 7,500, where he is far more than that relative to the other players on DraftKings. Like we remember on DraftKings, Zaccheaus is 6'4", while Ray McLeod is 5'4". Well, on FanDuel, Ray is 10, and Zaccheaus is 75. Same price as Crowder, 4,400 more than Crowder on DraftKings, and same price on FanDuel. Despite that, he's only picking up 6% more projected ownership. So Zaccheaus is a phenomenal value play. I don't like the cheap running backs, McNichols and Rodriguez, as much here as I do on DraftKings. But Zaccheaus and Ertz would definitely be my favorite salary savers here, especially considering I would probably be looking to go Jaden Daniels MVP. Those would be the salary savers I'd go to make sure I could try and play Bijan and or McLaurin there too.
Okay. All right, TJ, that sounds good, my friend. I agree with those takes. We're going to start taking some questions, and we'll, obviously put some time back in people's day. So we've got our board, Carolina guy, 828 TJ, coming through in the clutch in the live stream chat. I'm there right now. That's the only question I have. Then I'll hop back to YouTube. He's saying, hey, FanDuel GPP favorite MVP. I think that's going to be Jaden Daniels. And then he's saying also favorite low-owned flex. You just mentioned Zaccheaus. We've mentioned Zach Ertz, probably one of those guys, but I'm going to still ask you the question. I'm pretty sure MVP is Daniels. Who's your favorite low-owned flex?
Yeah, I would go with Zaccheaus since he's coming in sub 20% projected ownership right now.
Okay, sounds good. I am going back up. Let's see if we have any questions, and I'm going to start taking questions. So TJ, I scrolled up, and it says, who do you like for cash plays? This is coming from Scott Harris. Cash on DK. Who do you like for cash? Probably, I would say definitely Jaden Daniels, definitely Terry McLaurin for me, and probably Bijan. I think those three for cash are like, yeah, let's get those in. TJ, do you have a different opinion on those?
No, couldn't agree more. Those three for sure.
Okay, and McLaurin MVP. I guess they're asking about that on FanDuel. I don't think so. I think Daniels is your guy. Now, QQ in captain on DK Terry McLaurin, I agree. I'm perfectly fine taking a little bit of salary savings and see if you can kind of upgrade one little spot there. TJ, what are your thoughts on McLaurin as a captain on DraftKings?
Yeah, I like it quite a bit. As I have it right now, I built them here while we were on the show, and I have I went Daniels 1, Bijan 1, and McLaurin 1, so I don't mind that at all.
Okay, sounds good. Eric Johnson said Mooney captain, not tonight. I don't think that's it. QQ is Brian Robinson captain going overlooked. I don't think it's going overlooked, but I don't think I don't think he has more upside actually than Terry McLaurin. Definitely don't think he has more upside than Jaden Daniels. Like if he scores 15 fantasy points and Daniels scores 25, you're still going to need Daniels the captain. You get what I'm saying? So I don't think I don't think we need to go Brian Robinson at captain today.
I'd rather Mooney than Robinson at captain. I think for what it's worth, like just play the Atlanta has to throw the ball a ton in the second half and hope the touchdowns get spread out for Washington.
Chris Longo is saying he can't find the showdown for SimLabs for FanDuel.
FanDuel AnyFlex, it's called. FanDuel AnyFlex.
Yeah. And then Zach Akins, both kickers viable, or would you take both defenses? I would definitely not take both defenses. I definitely go both kickers over both defenses. I think you should only need one kicker tonight, personally, but I definitely would not play both defenses.
Who do you like more on DraftKings, Ray McLeod or Zane Gonzalez?
Going to be Zane for me. Once again, man, like, I don't feel like Ray has, like, if Zane, okay, so here's my deal with kickers. In one of these weird games, Zane kicks a 40-yarder, right, TJ?
Mm-hmm.
And then they score 2 touchdowns. He kicks the extra points. That's 6. Then right before half, he kicks like another 40-yarder. He's at 10 fantasy points before halftime. You get what I'm saying? Then in the second half, they get in the field goal range, but they don't push it. He kicks another 30-yard. That's 13. Then maybe the Falcons score. The Falcons are up 4. They get down there again, can't punch it in. They're at the 10, they're at the 12. He kicks another, kicks a 25-yarder. TJ, before you know it, the man's got 16 fantasy points, and it feels like he's done absolutely nothing. That's why kickers, to me, when we think the team is going to score points, are so valuable. Like those 1 or 2 40-yarders that they kick, plus a 30-yard and a couple extra points, is golden.
Yeah, I went with one of each in my 3 lineups just because I was having trouble choosing. I think Ray's got the higher ceiling and Gonzalez for sure the higher floor.
Yep. All right, we've got Diego Torres, and I think this will probably be the last question, TJ. I don't see any more coming in. He says, who's the best 3 players you should have in all of your lineups? Best 3 players, and TJ has named those, so TJ, I'll let you reiterate.
Yeah, so on DraftKings, it's definitely McLaurin, Daniels, and Bijan Robinson. I have those 3 in all 3 of my lineups. But I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that Diego Torres might be a FanDuel guy. And so if that's the case, it is tough to get all 3 of them over here. I would say you need to make sure you have 2 of McLaurin, Bijan, and Jaden Daniels in every lineup. Probably for me, include Jaden and then 1 of McLaurin or Bijan in every lineup. And in the lineups, I'm going Bijan. That's where I'm loading up on Washington players as my cheap salary savers, like Zacchaeus and Ertz. And then in the lineups, I'm going Daniels and Daniels and McLaurin together. That's where I'm more likely to play the Falcons pass catchers with them.
Yep. Yeah, couldn't agree more. Jim Parrott says, thoughts on McCaffrey. Not to be confused with Christian. He's referring to Luke. Thoughts on Luke McCaffrey.
Yeah, not for me.
Okay. Right now on FanDuel, and then Jim Parrish was also asking about Osborne. Thoughts on Osborne. Just random receivers, I guess, from Washington.
Yeah, I'm not getting there either.
All right. Sounds good. TJ, I've got 1,000 left in what I think I'm going to be building on FanDuel for like my single entry stuff. I built that team. I got 1,000 left. I actually feel pretty good about it. Definitely guys that we have talked about already, and hopefully it all comes together for us. So, folks, this has been the Showdown Pre-Lock Show, a version of Crunch Time for Showdown, but we call it Pre-Lock. I'm Will. That's TJ. We've been hanging out. Hopefully we help you take down all the money, and we'll see you back here next week.